First question being, who are you? We're going to discuss this more. Second question being, who are you becoming? And third question being, who do you want to be? And I love kind of like
I think last time we just went through it, but
Yeah.
oh well, we just cut this, go to the next one. Cut 7 and 8. All right, so now we're going to talk about session 7 and 8, and we're tying these together because this is where we really dove in to goals. And I love this because we kind of show this picture of even with activation energy where things fit, and goal is at the highest, right? High activation energy, long-term investment. And I think that's just really helpful to know whenever you're thinking about goals, that don't just set a goal flippantly. Know that it is going to take space in your life. And also when you set goals, it's a person you want to be, so you don't have all the things you need to accomplish that goal right now. If you have everything you need to accomplish a goal right now, it is not a goal. I'm sorry, but it's not. And so a goal is going to stretch you. It's going to pull things out of you. You're going to change in the process of you actually doing the goal. I mean, you've heard Steven talk about his running, and it's so fun to see, like, not a runner to, yeah, man, I ran my 16. Wait, you just ran your what? Like, he's talking about it in a way like it's more natural for him, but he's built this habit for this goal he's actually going after. So, Steven, I'm really interested in hearing how you are thinking through this, because it's not only the fact you have a goal that you're pursuing and you can kind of see how there's some priorities you set and there's habits you set and things like that in the mix, and you actually went back and forth. Should I make this a goal? Should I make this a challenge? And then now you have these other goals that you're pursuing. And so what is going on in your mind when you're thinking about all these things and how these sessions have really kind of set you up?
Yeah, and I think somewhat of like a sidestep too, but understanding your capacity is a really good start for goals. I think that was like my first revelation of many throughout these 2 episodes. I'm unfortunately human, and I am only capable of doing so much, and my goals far honestly outweigh even my imagination, right? So when you put those on paper and you actually look at them, and then you also take it to another filter level of personal, professional, people, and play, you're ultimately weighting how much time and effort you're going to give those 4 quadrants of life. And within those, they all also work together, right? If I'm better from a people perspective, it could make me better professionally. It's going to help me personally. And I need time to play, right? We all need time away. They're all synchronized in a special way, but you have to actually put everything down to even begin to figure out what's aligned to who you're trying to become. And again, bringing us back to this every time, I feel like I'm starting to be like the coach, but like,
I love it.
you've got to know who you're trying to become, because those goals you're going to look at, and it's actually going to be a relatively easy process to just pick off the ones that are important. And I think my suggestion too, as you're working through this, just start with the most important goal, or at least the goal that you see the clearest as part of your vision, and actually being able to think of all the details and character traits and habits and things that you need to ultimately develop and accomplish to get to where your goal is, and just start breaking out those challenges and projects, and then take one of those challenges and projects and break out the habits, routines, and priorities. That process is growth. Like, that is what this entire series has gotten me to. And I have some really bad news. You have to do work. Ike did not give us a cheat sheet. He showed us the framework, he showed us the way, but the rest of it is completely up to you. And there's a lot of work that goes into it. And sorry for being so long-winded. The real magic is what I'm looking forward to doing after I've accomplished some of my goals, is getting better at figuring out how to break those goals out so that I can have more productive days, because that's what this is all about. You have a goal. What are those projects and challenges? What are the habits and routines? The priorities get done, the goal gets accomplished. How do you break out those priorities in the most efficient way to get to your goals in the most efficient way?
That is a challenge, and gosh, I love that. You said that so well. And if anybody who did not watch the episode, you might want to stop this and go watch this, because you're probably like, wait, what? Goals, habit, routines, priorities. There's a lot there, but I think what you're saying is just so helpful for people to hear. It's like, it takes work, it takes time, and there's probably people who are engaging who have never set a goal before. They're just like, they're starting. So what would you tell them if they're like, you know what, I really want to step into this, maybe this July I'm going to go after something and I'm going to set a goal. Any advice you would give to like a first time goal setter?
And I'll be like really transparent too. And I think like other than when you're required to, but I'll tell you as a first time goal setter, right? I've accomplished some priorities. I've worked through good habits and routines, and I've accomplished a lot of goals in my life. But I'm personally really looking forward to accomplishing a goal that I've written down and planned out to an excruciating level, because I've lived an unfulfilling life despite having accomplished a lot, because I can't look back and say, here was a goal I put down on paper and here is how I accomplished it. I can talk about it for days, but I can't give you the prescription. Like, that's what you're doing here. And to be able to actually have that data to look back on and see what you've accomplished, we hear all this noise about self-confidence, right? And it's keeping promises to yourself. What promises did you make to yourself? I think people who don't set goals are intentionally not recording the promises that they made. And I think a lot of us have a hole. If you're looking to fill that hole, if you're looking to feel confident and to feel successful and to be proud, it starts with setting goals and putting it on paper.
Well said.
Did that come off mean? It was supposed to be motivational.
No, it was well, I don't know, because I'm motivated, but no, that's really, really good. And I think that is such a helpful mindset to have as people are stepping into this, maybe for the first time. And appreciate your honesty and just even talking through this. Like, I feel like I'm this first time goal setter in this mix as well. And, you nailed it. And what you said really resonated with me, because it's one reason I get really excited about the goals that I set, is because I can tell people how I got there. Like, there's something special to say, beyond like, oh yeah, I hit this goal, great, man, I just worked really hard, cool. How's that going to really help anybody? But to be able to say, hey, let me tell you what I did to get here. I didn't do it perfectly, but this is what I did, and it still got me there. It gives people faith and hope in themselves that they can do it as well.
I love it, man. I love it. And I just think about all the things I've accomplished. Like you said, I'd love to have more or less anecdotal evidence. Like, here's the specific information, but it gets back to the planning process. And like, I know you have you ever put together a detailed plan and executed it? That feels good.
It feels
really
good.
And I do want to challenge people too, because again, I feel like I was a little bit ahead of the majority of people as it related to goals. I can reference thousands of corporate goals that were complete bull. Like, they were goals that were tied to huge, far-reaching nonsense that had no application to what teams were working on. And again, I was at a VP level with 5,000 people working for me. So that's a problem in and of itself. But how often are you actually working on a goal that means something to you and that you have put together an actual plan that gets executed, that allows you to have momentum and be able to hit the goal? Like, it's rare. I know it's rare, regardless of whether you're doing it in your personal life. So I think everybody's got a lot of stuff to work on as it relates to goals.
We also talked about, I want to hear your thoughts around energy and how that kind of relates to goals. So any thoughts on your energy through the day and how you're utilizing that info to really be able to make wiser decisions?
Yes, and it's interesting. So in episode 9, if you're okay with that, you're gonna see this automate, delegate, eliminate. As I refined my goals, and I think you'll also be surprised what goals I ended up talking about. And there's not a lot, but they're big and they're really important. But it's allowed me to actually better prioritize. You'll remember priorities from episode 5. And I think that's really where you get into more of the magic, because the better my days can be, the better my path to accomplishing a long-term goal is going to be. And I think that's the special part of trying to really crack this nut, is making it efficient. Because a lot of times, and again, I'll go back to like the corporate goals that you set, how much of your day is actually focused on accomplishing the corporate goal versus meetings, nonsense, noise, new projects, fire drills. If everybody just really stayed focused on what was important, or even had alignment, and I think that goes for your family and friends and your personal life too. You know, the people that you associate with should be aware of your goals, and they should be supportive. I think it's going to help you through a lot of different things too.
You are striking this nerve here that I think people will resonate with, because we all know it's there. And anybody who's working in corporate space, you have the goals, and it's like, you don't really work on it. You have projects in here and there, but it's like, you're not always really working on it, and you don't really focus on it. And you sometimes have to sprint towards the finish line when you have like maybe 2 weeks left. And so to be able to think about doing that, setting a goal in a healthy way and working on it in a healthy way, it's kind of like a foreign concept, but it makes life so much more fun, and it makes a journey fun, and it helps you remember what you're doing. And it's not just like life is just coming at you. You're actually, life isn't happening to you, you're happening to life.
Yeah, and I think it just shows that there's a control to the chaos. You know, like life is going to be chaotic. We talked about this in earlier episodes too. There's always going to be urgent, important things that you didn't schedule that come out of nowhere. So if you have goals, it's going to help you make the most of whatever time is left after you're dealing with those confounding variables.
I love it. I love seeing your passion come out with this.
You know, and I think a lot of it in a positive way is regret. You know, like I wish I was having this passionate conversation with you when I was 16 years old. You know what I mean? Like I've just been operating and dealing with the days and being busy and having lots of tasks, but you know, where I've gone has always been special. It's always been part of a plan. There's so much fate and faith in it, and I love the story, but it's hard to not feel regret that I didn't own up and be honest with myself years and years ago. Whether I'd be in a different spot, I don't know, but I'm again excited for the next 100 years.
On that note, the next 100 years. Let's go, bro.
Let's go.
Who are you? We're going to discuss this more. Second question being,